Hello and welcome to this tutorial for Minecraft Bedrock. Today I'm going to show you how to build a simple guardian farm without portals. This farm doesn't use any portals to transport the guardians to the nether, instead we are using magma blocks to kill them directly. Beware that despite the fact we only need to remove 4 layers of water, this is a pretty big build. I want to thank DeadDuck for his in-depth video on the spawn mechanics of guardians. The link to his video is in the description. I will explain game mechanics throughout the video, which also be indicated by this icon in the top corner. If you have any suggestions or questions after watching this video, then leave a comment below, and also leave a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with my videos. And now let me show you how this guardian farm works. Alright, let's start with some specific game mechanics. First, the ocean monument, as the farm can be made with any ocean monument because they are all the same. And second, the guardians and their spawn behavior. Guardians spawn on 25 predetermined spots in the water if the block above is transparent. We are taking advantage of this game mechanic to place spots in which they will spawn and then get killed. And by blocking their sky access with solid blocks, we increase the spawn rates. In fact, if we do not block the sky exposure, there's a very high chance of spawn failure. Besides that, we also increase the chance of them spawning in our pots by standing up there in the AFK spot. This is low enough for all the pots to be working and high enough that they rarely spawn underneath the pots. Guardians belong to the cave spawn cap, and at this moment in Bedrock this cap is 8. That means we can have a maximum of 8 guardians in the farm. This doesn't sound very much, but they die quick enough and give nice amounts of loot to make this farm worth the build time. There are 4 layers of water removed and the spawn pots are 1 block below sea level. This is because guardians spawn between level 39 and level 61. That is from the bottom of the ocean monument to 1 block higher than the top of the monument and 1 block below sea level. And so we have 25 spawn pots with the spawnable spot on level 61. The guardians spawn on this block and the water takes them towards the magma blocks. They get damaged until they are dead and their dropped items will flow into the hopper here at the end. All the hoppers flow towards the dispenser in the middle, which shoots all the loot into the bubble fader. The bubble fader takes the items up to the automatic sorter at the AFK spot. All prismarine items get sorted and the fish get cooked in the smoker. We can just stand here and see all the items come in. And we can also get XP from all the cooked fish by flipping the lever and grabbing the cooked fish inside. And to round up how the farm works, here are the rates for the prismarine shards, the prismarine crystals and the cod. These rates are based on several test runs and are an average of that. Before you start building, you need to kill the 3 Elder Guardians that are at the monument. You can kill the Elder Guardians by hand, or you can switch the game difficulty to peaceful for a moment and that will remove the Elder Guardians for you. So the guardians spawn between level 39 and level 61. That is from the bottom of the ocean monument to 1 block higher than the top of the monument. We need to clear enough space so we can place the spawn pots and the item transports. For that we need to drain the top 4 layers of water. But first we need to build the sides and the floor of the box. To start, place 4 pillars from the bottom corners of the monument to 1 block above sea level. You can use glass or solid blocks for this, just make sure the top block is glass to prevent spawning. Next, fill in the sides by placing 5 layers of blocks from one pillar to another pillar. This is 5 blocks down from the top of the pillar and we do this for all 4 sides. Next, place a complete layer of bottom slabs against the bottom glass block to fill the entire square. We place these slabs on the bottom part because we also use this as spawn protection. And after you are done, you should have a fancy box like this. We only need to drain 4 layers of water, but that is still a pretty big task. The easiest way to do this is with sponges. We need to place temporary walls with 5 blocks in between them, otherwise the water will fill itself up again. You can use any solid block for this, but sand, gravel or dirt are easy to remove after you're done. So skip 5 blocks and place a wall of 3 blocks high from one side to the other. Then place a row of solid blocks in the middle and on top of the slabs, from one side to the other. Start at the wall and place a sponge every other block. We will leave some water on the ground at the moment, but that is because the slabs are waterlogged. So remove the sponges, remove the solid blocks and place a sponge on the remaining wet patches. Remember that the sponge sucks up water 2 blocks to the right and left, so place it in the middle where you can. To dry the sponges you can use a furnace, but it's faster to travel to the nether and placing them there. This will dry them instantly and then you can quickly pick them up with a hoe. This part is done, so skip another 5 blocks and place a new wall. When removing the temporary walls you will also find some more wet patches here and there. Just sponge these as well until you have no water left inside the glass walls. And this is what is left after all the water is drained. Guardians spawn on 25 predetermined spots in water if the block above is transparent. So we need to make the spawn pods on those predetermined places. This needs to be very accurate, otherwise the guardians spawn underneath the farm or not at all. Therefore I suggest that you use 2 different color blocks for this next part. You need a block color for the spawn pods and a block color for the temporary lines between the spawn pods. I'm using sea lanterns for the bottom of the spawn pods, but you can use any block you want. We need to place the 4 corner spawn pod blocks first. Go to any corner and place a spawn pod block 2 blocks out of the corner. So 1, 2 and on the 3rd place the block on top of the slabs and then in all 4 corners. Next we need to find the northwest corner of the farm. We can check the coordinates for this, or we can use the crafting table and lever method. If you don't know the crafting table and lever method, I've made a video on this. I'll put it up in the corner of the screen and also place a link to it in the description. To use the coordinates we need to corner with the lowest number on the X and the Z axis. Here in my case I'm in the middle of the farm and here are the coordinates for that. If I go this way the numbers will go up, so I need to go the other way. This is the corner with the lowest numbers on both axes. Alright, so from this corner we need to go 29 blocks diagonal to the middle. We start on the first slab and then 29 blocks to the middle. Place the spawn pod block at block 30. You can check if this is placed accurate by counting further diagonally to the other side. You should have 28 blocks to the corner excluding the spawn pod block. Now we need to place the temporary lines between the spawn pods. From the middle block we need to place 15 temporary blocks in all 4 directions. We need to place a spawn pod block on the end of all 4 lines, which is block 16. After that you should have a cross shape like this. Next connect the 4 spawn pods in the corners like this. Place a spawn pod block in the places where the temporary lines intersect, so you will get this. And when they are connected, you should have a pattern like this. Then connect all 4 outer spawn pod blocks to each other with temporary blocks as well. And all we need to do now is to place lines from these spawn pod blocks to the outer line. And again, where the temporary lines intersect, we need to place a spawn pod block. When they are all done, you should have a grid looking like this with 25 spawn pod blocks. And now we can remove all the temporary blocks between the spawn pod blocks. We now need to make all 25 spawn pods and the kill tubes. Start on any of the spawn pods you want, as there is no particular order needed. Place 6 magma blocks level with the sea lantern to the middle of the farm. Then place a hopper on the end that also faces the middle of the farm. At the back of the spawn pod block we need to place 1 glass block. Place 1 layer of glass all around this and then place an upper slab above the hopper on the glass. This makes sure the guardians don't rest on the hopper without taking damage, but it will let the items go into the hopper. Next we need to cover the top of the tube with 7 blocks of glass, so the guardians will be held in the kill tube. We need to place 2 solid blocks here above their spawn location, as that will increase the spawn rates. Place 2 slabs on top of the solid blocks as spawn protection. And finally place the water here so the guardians can spawn and get transported to the kill tube immediately. Now we need to do the same for the remaining 24 spawn locations. Place all kill tubes facing the middle of the farm, and the 5 middle locations you can face them towards either side. And after you're done, you should have 25 spawn pods and kill tubes like this. We want to bring all the items to the middle of the farm because we're taking them up towards the AFK spot. Basically there are 2 best ways of doing this. The first one is to place hoppers towards the middle and have a dropper dispense the items into a bubble fader up to the storage. And the second one is to place lines of ice on the end of the kill tubes and transport the items via water streams to the bubble fader up to the storage. Either system will do fine and takes about the same amount of time to place, but I'm going for the bit more expensive hopper system here. We are starting with the bubble fader at the middle of the farm. Go to the back of the spawn pot in the middle of the farm and remove 3 slabs. Then place the dropper against the middle slab at the same height. Remove these 4 slabs in front of the dropper and then place solid blocks underneath the dropper and in front except for this block, which needs to be soul sand. At the back of the dropper we need to make an area of 3x3 with solid blocks at the same height. Next we need to make the redstone clock to shoot the items in the bubble fader. Place a comparator out of the dropper and then 3 solid blocks like this. Place 2 repeaters on one tick, one on the left side here and one on the right side here. Then place 3 redstone dust on the remaining open spaces. And to finish the clock, place a solid block here on the left side of the dropper so the dropper will be powered. If the storage system up top is backing up, you can slow the redstone clock down by setting both repeaters to more ticks. This will slow down the rate of items the dropper shoots into the bubble fader and gives the storage system more time to filter correctly. To get the items into the dropper, place a hopper on the right side and a double chest on top of that. We need the chest as a buffer for the amount of items we can get to the bubble fader. Now we need to build a glass tube 40 blocks up and fill it with water source blocks. Also place scaffolding here next to the tube. We will use this to get up to the AFK spot. The tube is done, so now we need to make the bubble fader. I am in creative mode at the moment, but let me show you how to do this in survival mode. We need 1 block of dirt, a water bucket and 40 kelp to make each water block a water source block. When we are still at the top, place water in the tube so it flows down. Go to the bottom and replace the soul sand temporary with a block of dirt. Step into the tube and place the kelp on the dirt and keep stacking it until you're at the top. The kelp will now turn every block into a water source block. As an alternative, you can use bone meal to grow the kelp up to the top as well. And to complete the bubble fader, replace the dirt with the soul sand. Now all we need to do is to connect all the hoppers from the spawn pots to the chest in the middle. I'm using the middle between 2 spawn pots for 1 hopper line like this. And then we have 4 hopper lines from the pots to that middle line. We need to do this for all the pots. From the top of the tube we need to go a bit down to place the AFK platform. Go 9 blocks down and place a row of 6 glass against the glass tube. On the last block turn to your left and place 4 more glass blocks. Now fill in the rest towards the first glass block to make a platform of 6x5. We can now place the sorting system on the back here. Place the chests and hoppers like this. We need 4 chests high and 4 next to each other. At the second to last spot, place 2 double chests with a hopper connecting them, 1 block forward like this. Place a hopper on the top chest, a smoker on top of that and a hopper on top of that. On the side of the smoker, place a hopper into the smoker and a double chest for the fuel on top of that. Place temporary blocks on top here and then at the back place 2 hoppers underneath each other into the blocks and the chests. Remove the temporary blocks and place 2 rows of solid blocks against the hoppers at the back. Place another row of solid blocks on the lower row and then 5 pistons below that. Then place a redstone torch on all pistons at the front and also 1 obsidian block on the side. Place 2 rows of solid blocks like this and place redstone dust on all of them. Place 5 glass blocks on top of the lowest redstone dust and then redstone dust on all the glass. Finally, place 5 comparators on the blocks in front of the glass to finish the back. Next we need to set up the item filters in the top hoppers. To make the filters, place the material we need to filter in the first slot and 1 renamed item in each of the other 4 slots. The system will let all items through that are the same as the filter. There are, however, always 41 items left in the first slot because of the way the system works. Make the first 2 filters the prismarine shards, then the next 2 filters the prismarine crystals and the last filter raw cod. We now need to connect the bubble fader to the sorting system. Place 2 solid blocks here against the hopper, then 2 blocks towards the bubble fader and then 3 blocks on top of the last block. Place glass all around the hoppers and the blocks so no water will flow down. Remove this piece of glass off the bubble fader to let the water flow and place a glass block on top to close it. The items should now flow towards the hoppers and get picked up. If you want to earn XP from the smoker, you need to place a lever on there. When you switch the lever, all connected hoppers will lock and the cooked cod will stay in the smoker for you to pick out and get the XP. To finish this farm, we need to make the AFK spot enclosed so we cannot get attacked by anything. Place 5 high glass walls all around the platform and close it all off with a glass roof. Now nothing can spawn on here, in here or attack us. Place a bed in the corner here and a crafting table in the opposite corner. And that is the simple Guardian farm without portals. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions or questions, then leave a comment below. And also leave a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with my videos. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.